Hi, everyone. It's your host, Gabby. Welcome back to The Real One, where we have genuine and authentic conversations in order to embrace our unique journeys together, as we believe in the importance of being real in the society where it's quite challenging to do so. So today, I have with me an important, interesting, amazing guest. Her name is
Sanchia.
Welcome, Sanchia. How are you?
I am doing great, Gabby. Thank you as always for having me. It is a pleasure.
Oh, no worries. My pleasure, honestly. So before we even start talking about anything, who is Sanchia?
Who is Sanchia?
Mm-hmm.
Sanchia is just a little person around here. Oh gosh, what a question. Sanchia is currently, I guess, a second year politics and international relations student at university in Lancaster. Mm-hmm. She is also a daughter. She's also a sister of two. She is a Christian. She's a lover of Jesus.
Love that.
Yeah, amen. She is an aspiring many things. She is, oh gosh, I don't know. That's a little question. She is half Kenyan, half Nigerian. Something I love about myself. Yeah, those are 3 things about who is Sanchia.
Oh, so as you heard, she's many things. But apart from being all of these things as well, she's also an amazing friend. As you hear, me and Sanchia, Sanchia is literally my first friend from uni. And it's so funny because we actually tell this story to everyone, but the way we met was just so intentional, and it just shows how, is even when you're going a new environment, you actually meet the people that are for you no matter what. You don't need to do anything. And this is why I actually chose you to do this episode, because I feel like so many people, maybe people that are going uni or changing environment, going a new place, they might be wondering okay, I'm not sure, how do I actually make real friends? So I think, what would be the first thing that you would say?
I guess the first thing I would say is be authentic about the things that truly matter to you. So I think with us, it was very clear from the get-go that I could be real and authentic about being a Christian, about loving Africa, about my career ambitions. I never had to. There's nothing about being fake, and because of that, it made our friendship so easy. I think in the past I've noticed that I've easily been drained by some friendships because I wasn't able to be myself. It was draining because I was putting on a facade. So I'd hang out with these people, then I'd go back to my room and recuperate. But I think with friendships like yours, that I'm able to be the same person with you as I'm able to be in my room. And so because of that, there's not that need to necessarily always recharge, because I'm not having to do the most. But I was honest about with you about the things that matter to me, and by coincidence, a lot of those things matter to you as well. And so again, always a beautiful thing to have friends that have differences to you. But I think same with maybe a romantic relationship, the core values, it's kind of always really fruitful when those align with a friend.
Yeah, I agree. As you said, when you're not with the right people, that can be so draining. So if it's so draining, why do you think people stay with friends that are not real friends?
Heavy question though.
Because it's draining. So why do you think people are still creating friendships that are not real friendships?
Yeah, this needs to be a study. This needs to be, you people that do sociology, I don't know, you need to get on this. But I think there's definitely, and having been someone that's done this, there's that element of either it's a friendship of convenience. Not gonna lie, if fair enough for people coming into university, your flatmates, you wouldn't be friends, because if you're not friends, then it makes also your life a bit harder. So you kind of want to be friends with those people, or these are people that perhaps you were friends with in the past. You've grown differently, but because of that, you still feel the need to be friends. So I think that's the case for a lot of people, that they feel they can't necessarily grow away from friends. But I think that's sometimes okay. You can still be friends, but to what extent? There's also maybe the idea that yes, some people are cool in this way. It might be a transactional friendship that you feel you need to be friends with this person because they're giving you this. They're giving you popularity. They're giving you access to this. So I think there's many, and I guess in a way, understandable reasons as to why people still maintain these friendships that can be sometimes draining. Sometimes, and I feel like, which is the worst part, is people don't actually realize how draining the friendships they are in. And I think this was another case for me, that I was in some of these friendships, but I didn't like clock how much it was taking away from me until I tasted sweet friendship. I looked back, I said, "Chai, I was losing energy, I was losing this, that." People don't realize, and people are so used to this, again, status quo of like, you know, not necessarily being treated so well in like friendships, or having like to put on a facade or not be like the authentic selves, but they don't realize that there's like so much better for them.
No, I fully agree with that. And let's kind of go back. You said convenience. So what's the difference between creating like a friendship that is like convenient and then a friendship that is actually helping you? How do you distinguish that? Because you have a friend, like at the end of the day, we need friends. So what's the difference? Because someone might say, well, like, it's not for convenience because I'm generally like, they're actually with me and they help me and everything. So how do you create that boundary?
I think that's a really good question, actually. And I'll try my best to give a very like decent answer. So yeah, we're thinking about the difference between a true friendship and a friendship of convenience.
Yeah.
I think one way of testing it is like how long it lasts. Because with a friend of convenience, as soon as you don't need them anymore, really, then the convenience wears off. Fair enough, you might have started off with a friendship of convenience and it's become a true friendship, and that's why it's lasted long. But I think an initial way of seeing the difference is as soon as you don't need that thing anymore, are you still gonna be friends with this person? As for like the true friendship, like again, it's like very durable. Like you need each other, you don't need each other, the friendship is there. Me, I know I can go away not for a year, not speak to you, but as soon as I come back, it's
God
like we never left. God forbid. But it's like, it's like I've never been away. So I think that's like one thing I would say. What else? Again, kind of like, what are you able to speak about? Because I think looking at our friendship, I love that we can speak about like literally anything. Perhaps maybe a friendship of convenience is very narrow. You're only able to talk about certain things. For example, if you look back at like the flatmate analogy, a friendship of convenience, you're pretty much only speaking about things like related to the flat, or anything that's convenient about like you guys hanging out outside of the flat, stuff like that. You wouldn't necessarily speak maybe about your religion, your faith, maybe your family, but I think, you know, you look at the conversations you have with your friendships, and I think sometimes that shows what kind of friendship it can be.
Yeah, I think that was more than a decent answer.
Oh, don't gas me.
No, that actually makes so much sense, because it's so true. Like sometimes you just be thinking, oh, my days, like I'm passing a lot of time with them, so you might be thinking, oh, like this is a real friendship, but the real friendship is actually defined by like the conversations that you're having. And you know what, I don't necessarily think how long.
Okay. Just
because we've been friends for 2 years.
That's true.
And no, we are not even exaggerating, guys, but I think from like literally the first day we knew most of our life.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
I think when you meet someone, you're like, oh, you have similar values, and it's like you're having meaningful conversations, then you're like, okay, this is someone that can really be a friend. So that's why I don't think it's time.
No, I hear that.
I really think it's the quality of the conversation that kind of like define the level like of friendship. So why do you think then it's hard for us now to like make real friendship? What's the challenge about it?
I guess I'll speak from like personal experience as well. It's like, again, not knowing like the fullness of a friendship you can get really until you know it. So you actually, your expectations are pretty low because you actually don't know like how good a good friendship looks like as well. And I think tying back to the fact that like sometimes do you know your authentic self enough to express that in a friendship? Like, again, especially growing up, we're still finding out so much about ourselves. So coming into uni, there's so many things I look at now that I know about myself that I didn't know coming into uni. And so understandably, as people are growing up, friendships and the quality of friendships are going to be different. And luckily, some people when they're younger have really good quality friendships from the get-go. But for some reason, and for some people, the more they learn about themselves, that like changes their relationships. And so I think, and like your priorities change as you grow. I think the more I've grown, the more like, at least for my close circle of friends, my faith is really important. And so that is like a quality in my really like close circle that is present, that has been increasingly important to me. But it wasn't necessarily like at the forefront before. Before it might have been, you know, do we like sports? Do we like academics? But as your interests change and as they become more central to who you are, like those core traits and those core values, then I think the more you can draw like friendships from.
And that means that you don't need to be friends with people that you've known for years.
Yeah.
As you're growing up, your interests are changing, so your friendships are definitely going to change.
Absolutely.
And even though that can be challenging, is actually okay. Like, it's actually, you guys can still be friends. Like, you guys can still smile at each other, still talk and everything. But obviously, the level of depth will be different because they will not be the same understanding.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, just to add on to that, I'm about to cook with this analogy that I always use. Because not gonna lie, when God dropped this in my head, it's just ever since then, it's just been doing the job.
Wow, you're ready.
And I've probably told you this, I've definitely told you this before because I love to rinse it. But it's like the house analogy, right? And so the idea is, like, at the end of the day, again, the word friends, it can be used quite loosely, but if we like to use it that loose way, because I think that's the way I use it. You have, like you mentioned, you have friends like with different levels to like different depths, and that's absolutely okay as long as you know where they fit.
Come on.
So you have a house, right? And so at home, you know, you own a house, yada yada yada. When some people come to your house, some people only come to the door. You know, knock knock knock. You open the door. So this might be, you know, a neighbor you've never met, but you know, you might consider yourself friendly. You open the door, you say hi there, you do your business there. That's it. They don't enter the house. Other friends, you know, they knock. Oh, you say, come on in. You know, take a sit in the living room, and you serve them from there. Anything, any food, any biscuits, you go to the kitchen and you bring it to them. That's a different type of friend, right? Then you have a different type of friend, and they enter the house. Now, when you're preparing stuff for them in the kitchen, they also come with you. You know, they might know where some stuff are in the fridge, you know, the shelves, they don't have to look twice. That's a different type of friend. Another type of friend, they come with you in the garden. They already know, you know, they might have opened the door themselves. They might know where the key is hidden. They might already know where to put their shoes. They might know, like, where every toilet, every bedroom, every bathroom is. That's another type of friend. They might still be on the bottom floor, though. You have another friend that, like, oh, you know what, I left something in my room. Your friend is just going to come up with you because, you know, that's the type of friend you are, that they see those intimate spots. But that's not the same friend that was left at the door, or the same friend that only sit in the living room. At the end of the day, they're all friends that are still entering your house.
Yeah.
They're all people you consider friends, but to different levels. Yeah. And I think once people acknowledge that just makes life so much easier. That yes, you can be friends with people, and yes, they can come and you can still have a lovely chit chat chinwag in the sitting room for hours. But they're only going to sit in the sitting room. Yeah. And once you have like those mental boundaries, you lose like far less energy. You also know those friends that, in fact, they come and sleep in your house, they sleep in your bed.
Literally.
You know, so like that cheeky little sleepover, that's vibes. They come all the way into your room, into your bed even, you know, fall asleep, wake up, you say, oh, I'm going to go home, see you later. Nice having a sleepover. But again, you see like the difference between these friends. You have those friends, or should I say in specific, that one friend who you close your eyes, he's the only one that knows your thoughts.
Literally.
So you have these different ideas, and obviously the one in the bed might be, you know, your husband or wife or whatever. But again, just these different friends, different levels. And I think, again, it's an okay thing. You don't have to force a sitting room friend into the kitchen or into the upstairs. In fact, some people, you won't necessarily consider these friends, but you know, you have some people that you know they're coming, you just pretend you're not home.
Literally. Literally. That you just have the energy to just meet outside. Yeah. Like, no energy to eat together, no energy to do nothing together. But when you meet, you're like, oh, actually, it was not too bad.
Yeah,
after an hour,
that's true.
you're okay? Like, yeah. That makes so much sense. That analogy, chai. Yeah.
Generally changed my life.
that makes so much sense. Because then, why are you trying to force a friendship that doesn't need to be forced? Also, it's not everyone that is for you the same way.
Exactly.
We can be good people, but we all have different personalities, and it's not everyone that like can fit your personality the way you are. As you said, chai, that analogy was perfect. I can't lie.
Thank you. Wow. It helps, and it also helps you manage expectations, right? Because with a sitting room friend, I'm not going to be expecting them to wash the dishes with me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I know that I won't now get disappointed when they don't do certain things away. Because I know that's okay because they're this type of friend.
Wow. You're cooking.
Thank you, Laura.
Wow.
So, like, it definitely helped me because I think friendships and, like, sometimes, like, feeling sad about how certain things have, like, turned out ended up, like, upsetting me. And I love people, I genuinely do, and I feel very blessed to say like there's a lot of people I do consider like friends, and even though like a sitting room friend and a bedroom friend will like be different, or like a kitchen friend, like I still like genuinely value them in such different ways because I learn and I grow from them in different ways. So again, that's not to undermine the quality of the friendship, but it's just understanding the place. And I feel like actually once you understand the place, you're able to appreciate it more, because again, you're not getting upset about small things. Like, they didn't do this or they did this, because they've got their place. They've done exactly what they were meant to do.
That is beautiful, guys. Shy, guys. Do you understand why she's my friend? I'm sorry. Your friend could never. That is beautiful. It makes you embrace people in a different way.
Honestly.
Some friends, you just meet them and you're just laughing.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because you know that you're going to meet them and laugh.
Exactly.
That was good. That makes so much sense.
It honestly helps.
Yeah. It makes so much sense, because sometimes it's hard to make friends, because it's like you're expecting so much from them. And sometimes you've been friends for someone for like so many years and you expect them to do something that the friend that you met in like a month is doing, because you're like, why are you not doing the same thing? But it's not the time, it's the position, it's where they are, it's the depth or the friendship that matters.
And it's okay realizing sometimes that like people that used to be kitchen friends are now retreating perhaps into the sitting room. You know what? It might be that you've even moved house, yeah? You've grown, you've developed, you've moved house. So it's a different kitchen, it's a different sitting room. So maybe in this kitchen they're not so familiar with. So in this house, they're staying in the sitting room. Or maybe in this house, your bedroom's a bit smaller. Because I feel like the older you get, it's kind of like a smaller circle. So the bedroom's a bit smaller. So it doesn't mean you can fit everyone that you used to in there. And it's like, again, like the shifting and the changing, because like we're all very much like, dynamic, multifaceted people, and like that's also okay.
The expectation one, that is serious, because that's what breaks you. Like when someone that you call a friend or something doesn't do something for you, and you're like, oh, why is this person not doing this? And you're wondering, and it's because you have expectation for them that they're not supposed to be meeting, because they're not there yet, or they're not there anymore. How would you say that you set the expectations? Because you're a friend with someone, and they might think that you're a close friend, but you don't think that. How do you set that boundary?
I think, to be fair, again, people's houses are different, so it's not always going to be uniform, like, I guess how you view each other, which is another like interesting aspect. But in that aspect, kind of making sure that you mentally like stick firm to your own boundaries and don't let that, because if you end up now treating them differently according to their standards, but your standards are different, then you're just both going to be unhappy, because you can't like maintain treating them like that, and then that'll make them upset. But also you're also running yourself out or down, or you're both not getting the most of the friendship, because I guess you've not put them in the proper place. It's a very hard one, because again, it's quite sad when perhaps you view someone in a way but they didn't necessarily view you in a way. But then again, if that's the case, then is that like now a question to reevaluate that friendship? Because at this point you should probably maybe be viewing like each other very much the same. I think also actually it depends on like the levels. So I guess when it comes to like kitchen and sitting room, maybe not that different. Outside and sitting room, not that different, not that deep. But it can't be now a thing of one of you thinks your sitting room, the other one thinks your bedroom. That one now is a bit something went wrong somewhere that you guys will probably have to figure out, because that is just not sustainable. So I think with the smaller differences, it's okay. That might be an issue of time, just people just being different. That's okay. That happens. That's quite actually common, but the difference now can't be too drastic.
I think one thing that I realized is that if there is a drastic change, then it means that there is also drastic change on the type of conversations that you guys are having. If you're not communicating, then you just break a friendship that could have just stayed there anyways, but just in a different way.
Facts.
And but it takes maturity.
Yeah, I think also experience. I think I would not have like been able to say this if I hadn't like gone through certain experiences that have taught me things. And I think that's a good and bad thing. There were some hard things that had to like happen, but out of it came like a lot of like like pruned, luckily some like wisdom. I wouldn't say it's not for everyone, but not everyone has the chance to go under that. Some people might be in the same school all their lives, so pretty much the same friendship group. Some people have to change schools a lot, so they get that experience. So I think it's my wish that people like get to learn this, because I think everyone can, but it's just by chance that not everyone will be in the position to, because they're lucky enough to have like one like stable friendship all their lives or whatever.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I think it was very similar for me as well, because coming from another country as well, is like it comes to a point where you need to question, like, okay, so what level of friendship you're in? Because obviously you're living like different life experiences, and you can't expect the same level of debts. And some people have, kept the same level of debt. Some people, they're still my friends, still love them, but it's just a different type of debt. And I think it came with understanding that is like the depths can be different, but they can still be my friends. And I think what you said just made a lot of sense. Why do you think sometimes very close friends don't understand each other?
I think perhaps that might come again. It's one of those core issues, right? So it might be a thing of something that was very important to each person was either not communicated properly, or there's been a development in one of these core values and the other person hasn't realized. So for example, like you might both have cared a lot about sport, or one of you might have cared, so yeah, on the surface you both cared about a lot about sport, but for one person their favorite sport was football, and for the other person their favorite sport was like rugby, so they hated netball, they hated football, but under the guise that they both love sport. That is a very bad example, but it's the kind of thing, like the misunderstanding in the core values. But like on the surface, yeah, we love sport, we still love sport, but underneath it, like plot twist, one of them actually didn't, and maybe they just really wanted to be friends with that person. So again, like I think it lies a lot in the conception. The other thing is now it might be that they both loved football in the beginning, and that was like the core value of their friendship. However, over time, one of them started loving rugby like a lot, so they've stopped kind of loving football, and so because of like now that like the thing that kind of formed their friendship, that core, there's like a core shift, maybe grew some misunderstanding. Again, I think that's a really good question. So I could have probably answered it better, but that is like my very bad example for now. Something might come up later, and I will let you know. But
no,
I hope that's okay.
no. That makes like literally sense. That sometimes you're very close with someone, and then their values, like they might go deeper, like in a value on something, and it just changes the perspective. So you said, oh yeah, we are both the same, felt the same passion, but then someone is like, it's just going at different levels and in different, like, again, layers. I say like another reason is sometimes like communication, because
that's true.
I think sometimes you guys are very, very close, but I think sometimes you need to kind of like tell your close friend what you expect from them, because they're close friends. Like if we consider each other as close friends, I think there needs to be that communication of like what I expect from you as a friend. And I'm not saying go to your friend and tell them, well, I want this every day, but it's showing them what matters for you. And I think especially when you're changing your environment, and especially if you're going to uni or changing country or whatever, even if you're very close with someone, they might not know your love language. They might not know what you care about. So you guys are very close, but you don't know the little things that like are important for someone that they're not for the other. So you guys might be there like having everything and stuff, but then you're like, in your mind you're thinking about, why is this person not doing this for me? And the thing is, maybe they don't even know that you need that.
Facts.
So I think maybe also like friendship wise, especially if you're close with someone, it's so important to communicate. Like, what's your love language, literally, or just say, you know what, like I really like this, or I really like when people do that. You get it? Or just saying, oh, I didn't really like when you did that. Having really like honest conversations with friends. Like one thing that I've realized is having honest conversation with friends. Like just be like, I didn't really like that, because if not, it just comes to a place where you're literally keeping things inside of you, and it's like, you guys were close, but then you guys are going further and further because you're not meeting each other's standards. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I feel like it's definitely like an awkward one as well. But it's one of those things that like sometimes like this needs to be done. And I think I'm someone that's like very much like I can like be awkward with like the confrontation and like, making someone uncomfortable. But I guess the way I counter that is like I make sure to pay extra attention to some of the things that matter to my friends. So I think on both sides, like, that's why it's like when you have those friendships, when you know who's like in that inner circle, like you invest and you make sure like you spend time kind of knowing what matters to them. So like one of my friends, they're like really, I guess, like keen on like communication and like texting back and like certain things. Not gonna lie, I'm not.
Same. That's all your friends.
And we know that of each other as well. So it's kind of like making sure you know. So for example, with that friend, I will make an extra effort to respond. And like, because I know that's what matters to them. With Gabby, like I will air her,
She actually airs me.
But Gabby will air me back. And it will be fine because we know that of each other.
Yeah.
So like, again, sometimes there's a need to communicate, but sometimes if you make the conscious effort to kind of acknowledge things and note things, then that helps as well. So like, I feel like that's like the first thing to do. And then if you're not really seeing a difference, if people haven't noticed, then you can communicate. And again, you don't have to make it awkward. It doesn't have to be confrontational. You know, just slide in there. Just cheeky little.
Like, you could have answered that message.
Exactly. And your friend, like, if they're your friend, especially in that inner circle, you know, they'll get your humor, they'll get your vibe. It doesn't have to be awkward. And again, this is like why it's so important to like know the circles, because it just saves you so much more energy. Because I know if I bring up something to Gabby, if Gabby brings up something to me, like, we know each other, and like we know again, within these boundaries, that she's not going to take anything personally. It's not going to be awkward. However, I know if I mention something like that to a singing friend, it might have been, it might like be a bit awkward. There might be a bit of friction because there's not enough like depth to like sustain that.
Communication is key, and also like knowing, like, don't expect the person in front of you to just know how to actually take care of you. Like, and I'm saying it because I.
So you just didn't know?
Honestly, this is normal standard, but sometimes it just be like, you know what, like, I actually, rather if you did that way, like, it's really honestly communicating, because, unfortunately, I am the first one. I'm literally speaking to myself now. People don't read our minds. So we just need to communicate. We just need to communicate, especially at uni. Like, we've been friends for 2 years, and because of communication, we are where we are now. But if we didn't communicate, then it would be like, that is long day. And sometimes communication is not just speaking; it's just the way you act toward that person.
That's true.
It's not always speaking.
I think we've only spoken about something like once.
Literally.
Like, when we can seem like we've had like a conversation every week.
No, we don't. Like, sometimes it's just about like the way you act towards that person. They'll be like, oh yeah, okay, you get it. So it's just, it's not, guys. But it takes effort. And as you said, is worth it at the end, because then you don't end up drained from fake friendships, from real friendships that are in different places. So then your expectations are not like, undermined, basically. And then as a last question then, if someone is going to uni, going a new country like you, what would be the advice that you would give them to actually make a real friend? What is one thing that you would tell them?
Oh, I can't tell them just one thing.
Okay. Can you tell her that she did English A level?
You have to pick up the words. You get me?
Yeah. Come on.
Okay. Maybe 2-3 things. Okay. So I guess be like bold in the things that matter to you. That's one thing. I'll keep that one brief, because I kind of touched on it. Second one, again, know which friends fit where. So again, you can still meet so many lovely people, but like, know which ones you're gonna kind of invest a bit more time to, which are gonna be in the inner circle, and like be okay with that. And number 3, everyone finds uni awkward. Be okay with being uncomfortable, because it's not gonna allow you to laugh about it afterwards, and just like actually do things. Like, as much as people say this, people are not gonna just like find you in your room and become friends, but you have to like put yourself in the situations. And you'd actually find that like speaking to people from like different places who have different experiences is actually such like an interesting thing, and you're able to like learn so much about yourself, about others, about the world from people. And so look at that as like an amazingly good thing. Like, even if you don't become necessarily like the best of friends, good friend, you've taken a story that perhaps you would have never had, but you kind of get to experience just slightly because you've spoken to someone. So not everyone you speak to has to be a friend, but I am sure they can fit somewhere in that big house of yours, in that analogy, and that is okay. And I hope that hopefully that like analogy low-key maybe resonates with at least just one person. Maybe it'll make a little sense.
It will more than one person, because that's beautiful. For me, as you said, being bold in what you want and what you like. I think And when I say like, it's not like you're going to the shop and you choose what you like or you don't like, but really just know your moral and your values, because you might be thinking, oh, my days, like, it doesn't matter now, but then later on you realize that it's actually affecting you, and you can't speak about it anymore because you have already, like, they're already in your house. You get it? And you already care about them.
Yeah.
And you created, like, you already created, like, something that you could have avoided. So when we're saying being bold in your values and everything, it's also because those are the people that they're actually going to help you to get where you want to be.
Yeah.
So it's so important to have people that actually understand your values and understand you.
Thanks.
And I would say also communicating and just enjoy, like, be chill, relax. Like, not everyone needs to be your best friend.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs to be your best friend.
Yeah.
And that makes the journey so much easier, honestly. But don't try and isolate yourself at the same time, because I think having friends is really, really important.
Thanks. Especially at university level. This is one thing I stress. With your friendships, don't aim, I guess, like, for the quick fun. And I think this is what some people do a lot, like freshers fair, like, yeah, this is gonna be so fun, no, this person is so cool. But, like, especially at university, when there's so much, you know, perhaps you go away from home maybe for the first time, so there's so much going, you know, mentally. You're also now dealing with new stuff financially. Your degree, that's like your whole life. You're setting the foundations of your literal future. Like, you now need to, you actually don't have a lot of mental space to deal with, like, friendship drama. And I think
I agree.
People that know me, and I feel so blessed, and I thank God for this, that, like, I can say, like, second year has genuinely been, like, my favorite year of my life. And first year was good, and I was actually, like, I thought, like, nothing would be better than first year. But being able to see, like, the fruit of, like, my first year friendships, and, like, how it, like, far from causing me any drama, I've not winked, I've not peeped at drama in my life. If anything, if any drama that I've been in has not necessarily been, like, friendship, but, you know, like, maybe there's family stuff, whatever, like, the friendships have, like, helped me alleviate from that. Like, it's, like, carried me out of it. And so because, like, you took the time to invest early, again, it's those things, like, in life, like, you know, you have to have those good foundations, because if people build things on shaky foundations, like, when it gets rough, it's gonna shake. And again, at a time like university, where you're preparing for your future, like, you really don't wanna kind of have it where if something shakes, it breaks.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really risky time. And again, if you feel like you've, you know, built things on, like, shaky foundations, I don't want to be discouraging, because again, there's always, like, a way out of it. And that is the truth.
But you need to start from the beginning, though.
Yeah, you'd have to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
But at least, you know, you started again. At least,
yeah.
At least it's not been a skyscraper and that's collapsed. Like,
yeah.
So just take your time to invest. Like, don't rush. And I know it feels like you have to rush, because that's what, like, the beginning of university is about. Like, you know, quick friends. You have to, you know, freshers fair. You have to get the ground posts up. You have to make everyone make it look like you're having a great time. First term recap, second term recap. No. And again, to be fair, you can still have a good time and still have good friends. I'm not saying you should have a terrible time building your foundations. No, you can still have both. But be really intentional. And I think that's what I was. Again, like, having some experiences. Like, I really was, like, wanting, I didn't even clock that I was being intentional, but I just was being intentional, because in the long run, like, you're setting up, like, the rest of your uni experience and then your future for, like, such an easy ride. Like, to say that uni has been easy, and, like, I thank God, like, there's been, again, no ounce, nothing, no peep of friendship drama. And I hear some of my friends and I'm like, hey, even my chest hurts, like, just hearing you. Again, just save yourself the energy, because you need the energy for everything else. Again, so much can happen. This is again, new decade of life. This is, I guess, the most, like, transformative decade. You might have kids at the end of the decade. You might be married at the end of the decade. Yada yada yada. At the end of the decade, you know, your own house, first car. So you really just want to have all the energy that you want.
No.
Because of good friendships. I was always quite introverted, mostly. So I always kind of, like, have, like, you know, the whole social battery thing. But this year has made me realize I'm around the right people. Like, look, my social battery is actually pretty much, like, it doesn't really go down, or it goes down at a very slow pace. And I was very surprised by this, because I was very convinced I was an introvert. That after every social interaction...
You were an introvert?
When I tell my uni friends, they're actually baffled. It's actually, like...
That is crazy.
I would actually say this, because after, like, every social interaction, I would have to, like, recuperate.
Wow.
Because, like, it was crazy. Like, and I didn't deep how, like, perhaps that wasn't myself. And then I'm in a situation where I'll come home from the longest day. I'm like, okay, let me go to bed. But I hear my friends kiki and ha-haing in the kitchen. I'm like, yeah, well, kitchen I go. And I wouldn't regret it. Like, I'll sleep at 3, but
Yeah.
I'll sleep with a smile on my
You
face.
don't advise that?
Yeah, don't.
That is really fair. Like, you just need the right people around you, and it all comes from the right foundation.
Yeah. Because how can I have a friend look at me, she said, let's pray. I said, Chai, she just saw my face. And
Yeah.
again, that already answers like so many things. Like having friends that like, they see you. Yeah.
Wow, they see you.
They see you. That is, yeah.
That is important.
Yeah.
They see you. Wow, thank you so much, Sanchia.
Thank you for having me.
That was honestly an amazing conversation. You heard my friend. Like, you see, these are literally the people that I hang around with. I have access 24/7, and wow.
When I reply.
Literally, but we try.
I'm joking.
No, but honestly, like, as we said, it's so important to have good people around you. It's so important to have people that when you spend time with, you don't regret it, because you know that you haven't wasted time.
Facts.
Because at uni, your family is not here all the time, so you need an important support system. And even if it's not in uni, in life in general,
Yeah.
you just need someone that sometimes sees things from, with fresh eyes, and tells you, you know what, let's do this together.
Yeah.
Or let's pray about this.
Yeah.
It's not that bad as you think. And sometimes we don't cherish friendship enough, and we don't realize the importance of it. But hopefully, after this episode, you know that if you know that you don't have the right people around you, make sure that you go and find them. And it comes when you find yourself. It all starts from there.
Yeah. What matters to
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
It all starts from there. But yeah, honestly, guys, I love this girl. Love you, Sanchia.
Don't get me tearing up.
Honestly, no, but honestly, this was an amazing conversation. And hopefully you enjoyed it as well. And I'll see you next episode. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.